Welcome to the Sisterhood of Limitless Living. I'm Dr. April Moreno, autoimmune wellness researcher and professional helping women around the world to live their best possible lives despite the autoimmune condition. Listen in as we speak on various topics about the autoimmune journey and interview amazing and inspiring women who are living and thriving despite their autoimmune condition. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to episode number 42 of the Sisterhood of Limitless Living podcast. We're here at part 2 of this process about getting real about the new year. And this episode is about the faith of fulfillment. In terms of fulfillment, I'm talking about the feeling of living with your purpose, the feeling of living in a way that makes sense to your existence here on earth. Because we're living with chronic illness, we're living with autoimmune conditions, chronic disease. There are times where we may feel like, if I don't have the energy to do something today, what does that mean to my life? If I don't have the energy to do anything for these next 3 months, what does that mean to my existence, right? So being real about this, being real about the fact that there's a lot of pressure here in the new year. As we have begun 2020, we're here in the month of January, and there could be a lot of pressures in our mind about, well, you know, I said I was going to start running a 5K, or I said I was going to join that yoga class for people with my condition. I said I was going to, start arts and crafts, maybe start making jewelry. I said I was going to start a new job, or I was going to apply for disability this month, or who knows. There's so many things that we could have placed on ourselves at the beginning of the year. And especially probably because it's a new decade, a new year plus a new decade, I wouldn't be surprised if we place some kind of monumental goal on our shoulders because of this new decade. I'm here to talk to you about this topic here in this part 2 of this topic of the faith of fulfillment, being real about the new year. And to let you know that I think it's amazing and wonderful if you have placed huge goals. And there's so much to be said about making huge goals. We call them BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious goal. In the business world, for example, the BHAG is something that all businesses should have. It's something that anyone who is a visionary should have. Anyone with a sense of vision should have that huge, scary, audacious goal that is so scary to think about, but is so exciting to know that we can continue to make tiny steps towards it. So we're talking about that today. Even before that, I just wanted to get into this topic today about Couch Day. In the past episode, we spoke to Virginia Ladd of ARDA, the American Autoimmune Related Disease Association. And I love this theme that she mentioned, and I bring it up a few times here and there, the fact that with an autoimmune condition, and this is truth, right? Some days you feel like you have all the energy in the world, and there's so many wonderful and amazing things you can do, and you go and do them. And then the next day, it's couch day, because that energy that you use, you really go for it. The following day knocks it out sometimes for people with chronic conditions. And so I'm having the couch day. I know I have a little more energy now. I'm caffeinated. I've had 1 cup of coffee, 1 cup of iced tea, and a rose milk tea, one of my favorite tea places. But it was a couch morning. No joke about that. I have every muscle in my body that's hurting. I went to yoga yesterday with my New Year's resolution membership, and I didn't know it was going to be one of those hardcore fitness classes. That's basically what it turned out to be. It was in a yoga studio, but it was like CrossFit or something. And so every muscle in my body is hurting today. I went for it, and so it was a couch day. Definitely a couch morning, and I didn't do a thing until about 1 p.m. Yeah, it's real. The chronic disease journey, right? The autoimmune journey is real. I'm going back though. I'm going to go and do restorative yoga today. I'm so grateful. We'll see how it all goes. It's only been day 1 of this yoga membership. So far, so good. I worked out every single muscle in my body yesterday. And so today, we're getting into this talk about getting real about the new year, part 2, the faith of fulfillment. And even before that, I wanted to continue to share the great news that last year, as of December 31st, 2019, the podcast reached 1,000 episodes. So I'm really excited about that. That was all I really ever wanted in terms of numbers for the podcast by the end of 2019, and we met that goal. It was close. I kind of did like an NPR style promotion. Basically on the last day, I was like, okay, only like 12 more downloads and we're there. And so basically I went for it. I just sent it out and told a lot of people about how we're trying to reach this goal. And thank you, community, because we reached it. We went over 1,000 downloads on the 31st of December. I'm really grateful. And I just love the fact that we're able to reach women around the world who are dealing with autoimmune conditions. And thank you so much for supporting the community and helping us to grow. So to celebrate that, I am giving away the whole course of the Autoimmune Mindful Wellness course that I talk about in the past several episodes. And it's usually I've been charging $29 for it, which is actually still very low considering the years of work that went into this course and the PDFs, documents that comes with it, the whole learning process of getting into this autoimmune mindful wellness journey. I can tell you it was a journey. It all began with my own relapse. It all began when I went to the doctor and I was just like, I'm freaking out. I have anxiety. I don't know what's going on with my leg. I don't know how long I'm going to live with this autoimmune condition. What does this mean? I don't know the fact that different parts of my body are doing crazy, strange things every single day of this relapse. What is going on? And my specialist, the nurse, actually said, you want to think about mindfulness. And so I did. I went through the course in mindfulness, and this program is adapted for autoimmune living. And so it comes from a very personal place. It comes from my own personal journey of like the most fearful, scariest time of my life, that autoimmune relapse and the new experience of diagnosis a few years ago. It comes with 4 PDFs so that you can answer some questions, insight, open-ended questions that kind of help you through the journey of processing the principles of autoimmune mindfulness on your own. And it gives you background into the foundations of mindfulness. Jon Kabat-Zinn on the Western side of the world, who basically brought it over here and talks about principles of mindfulness. I go through all of those with you. And then we go into several practices of mind-body awareness, of what's going on throughout the body, grounding practices for dizziness, vertigo, practices I learned even 20 years ago that I share with you now that have brought me amazing relief, in addition to pain relief, and also counteracting negative, harmful thoughts about what's going on, which was really the original reason why I got started in mindfulness in the first place. It was because of the thoughts. Scary time that it was. And so I'm giving that away until January the 18th. That course is out there. What I need you to do is email me, April@aprilmorenophd.com. Moreno is Moreno. And in the subject, put celebration, because we're celebrating 1,000 downloads of the Sisterhood of Limitless Living podcast. And I'll send that course over to you. It's 4 courses, 4 modules. It's got 4 worksheets. And I believe it's really going to help because it's several years of experience and several years of learning that I've condensed into this course. So I'm sharing that with you. I'm giving it away until January the 18th. What's really important to me is to hear back from you, to hear how much it's helped you, because this course is going to go up in price and go up in price in the future. I want to hear from you about how it's ideally been beneficial and helpful for you. So yeah, get on there and in the subject line, celebration, April@aprilmorenophd.com. I'll send you the autoimmune mindful wellness course for free. All right, so now let's continue with episode 42. So the faith of fulfillment is the topic today. And so we've talked about there's a lot of pressure in the new year, and some of the 3 core practices out there right now are things like the resolution, right? New Year's resolution. I've been hearing that since I was an elementary school kid. Lose weight, right? Save money, somehow get a new job, become a better person, all those sorts of things, very common. And then also another very popular practice is the vision board. So, that's a lot of fun too. If you're not familiar with the vision board, experiences with the vision board, I don't know how to do it on Pinterest like some people do. I'm still very old school about it. I've got my cardboard here. I'm going to go ahead and just cut things out from magazines and put those up. I've got one already. This one's actually about 2 years old. And the amazing thing about vision boards is sometimes some of the stuff actually happens. Some of it is still in the works. I just believe that it's in the works, but a lot of it is already happening. And some of it I don't even want anymore. For example, I have a professorship up there, and that was my goal and my dream, to become a professor for many years. And as of last summer, I just decided, you know what, this is not for me. There's something in the culture that doesn't quite fit for me. And I want to continue just to step into working with people directly, working with women. We're also working on other businesses as well. So that no longer is relevant. So I'm going to actually take that down. But anyways, there's a lot of pressure in the New Year's resolution and the New Year's expectation of ourselves. But today, what I said I would talk about is how we're going to remain proactive. What is your plan of defense? Your plan of ensuring that things go well, that you continue to stay on track until you decide you don't want to anymore. And that's about being proactive. That is one of my favorite words. Like I've said from the very beginning of the journey of autoimmunity, being proactive is a huge part of what guides me every day. And it could be maybe that core desired feeling that with Danielle Laporte, that other practice of the new year, core desired feelings, how you want to guide everything based on how you want to feel. Right? And that's a great one. So for me, it could be proactive. If it doesn't feel like I have any sense of control, I'm going to say no. If it feels like it's not connected to my overall health and wellness, I'm going to say no. If it's going to be something that I feel is exhausting, is not going to be beneficial to any part of my life, just drop it. Let's say no. You know, even like with I've got her book here, the Marie Kondo whole principle of clearing things out and throwing things out. I mean, that's really the fun. If you haven't read her book, The Magic of Tidying Up, basically the principle is about throwing things out. She basically tells you how to throw things out, how to clear space, how to keep the things that you just really love. And so I would take that connection into being proactive, connecting my opportunities, things that have come to me, opportunities for whatever comes my way, or friendships, or outings, maybe people asking me for favors, asking me to join them with things. If it doesn't connect with overall feeling, let's say like core desired feelings of proactivity or wellness, I have to say no, and I won't turn back. If you do turn back, it's like, is this really beneficial to myself? Is this really, feel it in the stomach, feel it in the core of your belly? Like, is this something that's really going to be a good idea or not? Because we've got to be very proactive about decisions that affect our health. Living with chronic illness it can be very serious, and it's something we have to take very seriously as well. Even if we're in a healthy situation, we have to take it very seriously. Be proactive. What I want to talk about is taking small steps. There's some good ones out there. Maybe starting yoga for me. I just started this new membership. Yoga is one, right? So what am I going to do to ensure that I continue to keep up this practice, right? Because I know myself, I love potato chips. Got the kangaroos in my family. When I was a kid, I saw my grandma. I was like, I'm going to look like a kangaroo. Let's try not to. I mean, I want to stay in shape. But I know like that's the tendency. We look like kangaroos in our family at the bellies. So how do I continue to take those small steps? The great thing about this particular yoga studio is that they want to maintain a certain number of people in each class, and they've got these like markers on the ground. I love this because no one can take over your space, which is a big thing for me. They've got these little markers on the ground. There are only a certain number of spaces, and the mat has to go exactly in that space. And anyways, you have to reserve your time to be there. It's a huge way to be accountable for showing up, and I really like that. So taking those small steps is what I want to talk about today. And if you journal, perhaps continuing to stick to those goals that you have for yourselves. Maybe you've got just one goal for yourself for the year. Maybe you've got 3 or more. Taking note of those goals every single day and journaling on it, even if you make that one small step and one small practice in the journey, is all that matters. Thinking about how are you going to do that every single day that's it. And if it's something like I want to start walking, or I want to get outdoors, just start tracking like by minutes. Today I spent 5 minutes outside. I actually went outside and took some fresh air. I took a few steps today. Maybe thinking about taking more, or just continuing to make time to do that at all, is your small step in the right path toward what it is that you want for yourself. being proactive. To end this episode, I just wanted to share with you the book that we've been reading in the group, Super Attractor. Page 99 is where I'm at now. And it's been kind of a slow journey, and because I'm kind of absorbing a lot of this very slowly. Usually I like to zoom through books, but it's not really a good idea. I don't absorb a lot unless I just need to skim through something. But this one's a good one for you to like absorb, think through, and practice. There are a lot of different practices. Gabrielle Bernstein's book, Super Attractor. Page 99 is the page that really stuck out to me. I was flying back from the Pacific Northwest. I'm very glad to be home in the sunlight. So here she says, it's our soul's purpose to help others and bring light wherever we go. But we must consciously serve from a place of strength and alignment. So as Abraham Hicks say, you must be in alignment with their success as you offer assistance and not in alignment with their problem. The best way to serve others is to feel excited and eager to guide them through solutions rather than staying stuck in their problems. Your attention to their success aligns you with the fact that they, too, are super attractors. Your seeing them in this light helps them remember who they really are. This paragraph really jumped out at me as I was thinking about this episode. I'm processing this because it really was a message I wanted to share with you all. Being very proactive and continuing to live our purpose. I think it's really about people are learning from you, they're watching, they're observing, and there's this principle of leadership that everybody's a leader. And so when we are proactive and we're continuing to stay on our goal, this is a message to other people and it's motivational to others as well. And how are we serving our purpose in the world? We talk a little bit about purpose because of the fact that what we do reflects and it affects other people. I'm going to walk into a room with a great attitude. I'm going to be sharing hope. I'm going to be sharing my light. It is something that other people will also feel. Light is contagious, and so is every other type of mood out there, right? So like when you're going out on the freeway, if someone's having a really hard day, a rough day, you can tell, and then it reflects, and then it puts others into a bad mood, all of that as well. So really what this paragraph here is about continuing to serve our purpose and our light in the world and how it affects other people and how we must consciously serve the world, be in a place of strength and alignment. And this applies to everybody. This applies to people, chronic illness or not. Think about how we're going to walk through this earth with light and alignment and strength and purpose. And so I want to continue to talk about this topic of our purpose in a future episode, which is really important. But here's another part of the page I really wanted to share. On page 99, true power lies in your spiritual connection and your capacity to tune into the energy of love and the inner vision of light. True power is not some worldly credential, status, or achievement. Being a super attractor means we must lay down the things we think of as power in the world. All of our outer power is actually a defense against the light. I hope these messages have inspired you to begin to lift the veil of the fear-based world of suffering and embrace a world of faith and love. I don't know if I even need to talk about this, but we're talking about the new year. We're talking about the fact that sometimes people's year does not begin the way that we envision. The little fairy dust, the little magic wand of the fairy godmother has not taken effect yet, and things are not looking so great. There's breakups. There's people going through hospital visits right now. There's people going through autoimmune relapses right now. There are people going through chronic illness episodes. And it's like, okay, darn, it's 2020 and the new year just started. And like, this is how I'm starting the year. This sucks, right? The message that I want to share in this episode is the fact that it's really part of the journey. Life is a journey. And just because it starts out a certain way doesn't mean the whole decade, the whole year has to be that way. It's about our response to things. And it's going to be how we're going to live life on purpose, how we're going to live proactively, how we're going to take small steps to make changes. And what that looks like is going to be of your decision. What is it going to look like? What do you want this year to look like for you? What do you even want the decade to look like for you, which is so open for change? 10 years we're talking about. So I really like the book, Gabrielle Bernstein's book, Super Attractor. And I think there's so much in here. I just feel like I have to read this over and over again. Again, I like this sentence that she said here. And likewise, I agree. Similarly, I have a similar intention for the Sisterhood of Limitless Living. Her quote was that she hopes these messages have inspired you to begin to lift the veil of the fear-based world of suffering and embrace a world of faith and love. So my message would be that I hope that this podcast helps to inspire you to begin or to continue to live and take steps forward into hope, light, proactivity, wellness, purpose, and fulfillment throughout the year 2020 and the upcoming entire decade, setting the tone and starting out the year with this third year of autoimmune wellness of my practice, but this second year of the Sisterhood of Limitless Living podcast. It's my intention for you all being real about the new year. And in the next episode, we're going to take one more step into this topic of getting real about the new year and continuing into really beginning to ask ourselves some really in-depth questions about what this means, what the new year means, what it means for our lives. Basically, life design is the topic for next week's episode 43. I look forward to sharing it with you. I look forward to going through some of these questions with you and sharing even some of my answers to that as well. And so I hope that this episode is beneficial, provides some level of inspiration. I don't mind being, if I can inspire someone, I love that. The idea of being able to inspire someone. Taking those small steps, being very proactive about the way we choose to walk on the earth, even if we're living with resolutions, core desired feelings, vision boarding. What is going to be our plan of defense? What is going to be our plan of moving forward in the face of challenges and difficulties? Let's get into that a little bit more next week in the next episode of Life Design and working in the face of challenges. For now, it's about planning and taking small steps toward our goals. Every small step counts. It really does. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Sisterhood of Limitless Living podcast. I hope that this podcast episode has reached you at a time with information that is valuable and helpful to you along the journey of autoimmune living or chronic disease living, chronic illness. Guidance, wellness, information, support is why we're here. And so if you liked our episode, feel free to give us a rating on iTunes. A review is always appreciated. And for more information about Dr. April Moreno and the podcast, you can find us on aprilmorenophd.com/podcast.